Hello and welcome to this holiday edition of Uncorked with Funny Wine Girl. This is Funny Wine Girl, aka Janine Luby, and it is Christmas Eve, and I hope that you are able to take time to enjoy what the season's about. And I know it's probably trite and we hear it all the time, but it is about family, friends, people that you care about, spending time with them. And here's a thought: taking time for you, caring about yourself. I know there's a lot of folks out there who have lost loved ones, so the holiday is not as joyful and may even feel sometimes like a burden because of the burden of sadness, perhaps. But I really do hope that you find moments throughout the season that actually do put a smile on your face, and that doesn't always have to come from family and friends. It can come from people that you just run into in the street. Yes, there are still good people out there. I know even among this hustle and bustle, I've run into many myself. And yes, there are Grinches out there, but there are still bright, shining lights of great humans out there. In fact, and this is such a small example, but it's important because I think small examples can build up, add up, and remind us how good humanity is. So, on my way home from picking up a nut roll and an apple pie from Sugar Ray's Bakery in Peckville, which is just north of Scranton. I love their nut rolls. Their pies are good too. Their Danish are good. Their cinnamon rolls, yummy, yummy, yummy. On the way home, I stopped in the CVS over in the corner of the store to get a Mega Millions ticket because the drawing is like for $781 million, and the drawing is this evening. So I bought that, a couple of those tickets, a couple scratch offs, and I put them in the cart and I didn't see buy now. The problem or reason was I had not put my money in. So the machine was like, okay, it wasn't telling me what to do, but it was like gift card, credit card, but it didn't offer the option of cash. And I'm sitting there like, oh gosh, now there's someone behind me and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So I turned to the woman behind me and I was like, do you know what I need to do here? Because I don't see the buy button. And she said to me, well, I usually put my money in first. So I've never seen this screen before. And we both looked at the screen, and eventually I just started putting my cash in and it said buy now. And I was like, okay, it needed my money first. She could not have been nicer. The young woman with her, which might have been her daughter, both smiled. They both wished me Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays. I don't know because I don't get hung up on which it was. But it was just another example of a simple human encounter that we all can have. And there are good people out there. So I hope that you've had some good sparkling shimmers of hope and joy in your season. And I don't have a guest this week, as you might have noticed, as I've said many times throughout December, that December in the past, I've kind of used it as what I called merry musings or just thoughts. I'd get on here and talk. And the one week I really I'll admit I kind of ranted, but I'm not sorry for it because I spoke about consumerism, about the need for women to continue to speak out, especially in the years ahead. So I shared my thoughts. I had some little recordings from the Northeast Philharmonic from Christina Hitchcock, who has It Is a Keeper food blog, and she's now starting a podcast. So I had those, and then Gab and I spoke last week, and we, of course, love catching up. And we talked about her new certification as a life coach in trauma-informed life coaching. And it was always a pleasure to chat with her and talk about serious issues like mental health, but also kind of laugh at life and ourselves and the hypocrisy of it all. So next week, which will be next Thursday, January, I think 2nd, right? January 2nd, 2025, I am going to kick off my new season with Elizabeth. And I don't want to mess up her last name. So I'm not even going to attempt it. You'll have to wait and see next week. Elizabeth is the founder of a really cool school in Scranton called Wellkind. It's for young students, I believe even pre-K. And it's based on the pillars of wellness. So it's awesome. She teaches the kids a little bit different kind of curriculum, making sure that they're taking care of themselves, wellness, meditation, mindfulness, all of that good stuff. But she is also a coach, a wellness life coach. And we're going to talk about some suggestions for how to take, if we want to make change in the new year, how to do it in a way that is not stressful, it's not overwhelming, and it's not too much. You know, the old expression, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time. Well, sometimes we want to like take the whole rear end off, and we don't think one bite at a time, one step at a time. And I'll tell you what, I don't know where that expression came from. How do you eat an elephant? Because quite frankly, I think that's probably appalling to a lot of people right now. And I don't have any great desire to eat an elephant. I have no idea where the expression came from, but all it really means is, how do you take on something really big? You do it one step at a time, one task at a time, one achievement at a time. So she will help me kick off my new season, which I'm excited about. So for today, for Christmas, I just thought it might be nice to read the very famous, very well known "Twas the Night Before Christmas," or "Night Before Christmas." I guess it's called the "Twas the Night Before Christmas" poem. So I'm going to read that, and hopefully I will do a good job, because I noticed that I'm a little bit congestant. I'm a little bit congested, and I think a little bit wheezy, and not wheezy as in woozy or boozy, because I really I just made myself a martini. So for folks who go and look at the video, cheers to you. I'm wearing my Santa hat and just a small martini. In past years or previous years, I've joined my friend Kristen as she visited her family, and they had their typical Christmas Eve gathering. And I always enjoyed it. Pardon me. But this year they're doing things a little differently. So they're making about 3 or 4 stops. And I wasn't able to make the full tour. So I figured I'd stay home. But I thought, what the hell? I'll make myself a little martini, a short one. And I'll be making dinner for my family later. As I said, we have never had any major traditions. So we don't do, the 7 fishes. We don't say, oh, you can't eat meat. That was never really a tradition in our household. And I think whatever you do, wherever you are, if you enjoy it, you relish it. It doesn't matter what anybody else does, and you don't have to feel pressure to have a tradition. So I'm just making us chicken and raviolis, and then tomorrow is going to be turkey with some mashed potatoes, some broccoli casserole. I picked up a nice apple crumb pie and some nut rolls. So it will be about family and having a good evening. So now let me see how I can do with "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" by Clement Clark Moore. 'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads, and Mamma in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new-fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer, with a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky, so up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur, from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry! His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly, that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew, like the dawn of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. I want to thank you so much for any and all support you have given me throughout this past year. And I want to give a special shout out to Emily Hickox of Budget Through Life, who made me believe more in myself and gain confidence, as she is my sponsor, my first podcast sponsor that I am so grateful to. And I also want to give a shout out to my upcoming second sponsor, who will start sponsoring in January, Reinvented Threads with Gabby Lynn. I am so pleased and grateful for these two wonderful, beautiful women who do great things every day to help improve our lives here on this planet. And I'm so grateful that they are friends and they are sponsors of this podcast. And I am so thankful to you listeners. And I hope you will join me and continue to show your support in 2025. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And thank you so much for inviting me into your cars, your homes, wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart and the bottom of my wine glass.